Alrighty, CNT120, we're working on our Chapter 2 lab. We're working on the second part where we create a network diagram. The first part of the lab, we used Nmap to learn about some details of the elements in our network. We would take that information, we would use that for creating our network diagrams. So part 2 now, we're going to do just that. We're going to create a network diagram using a program called Draw.io. So to start off, I'm going to log into my hack, which I've done here. Your screen, I think, looks more like this. You're then going to look for your Google Drive, and I think yours is down here at the bottom, Google Drive, okay? Mine is going to be here under Google Apps, so I'm going to do my Google Drive. Once I open my Google Drive, I'm actually going to connect I'm going to create a new folder, and then I'm going to connect to Draw.io. So in here, you would want to do new folder, and maybe give it a name like CNT120 kind of thing, okay? That way your files for this class are there. I'm going to open my CNT120 folder. I have a couple things in here already. I'm then going to, over here under New, I'm going to click New, and down here under Apps, I'm going to go to More, and I'm going to do Connect More Apps. Okay, I already actually have my Draw.io connected, but I'll show you how to do this. So under Connect More Apps, I will actually search for Draw.io. It should be this top one up here. This guy right here, Draw.io, I'll do the connect button. It'll connect that app for me. So click on that, let it add. Now what I'll be able to do is, once I'm in my 120 folder here, go CNT, or I should say New, Draw.io diagram. It'll load in a new tab. It's running right here. I'll leave blank diagram, and I'm going to give it a name up here. I don't want to delete the HTML, so I will give it a name of like Chapter 2 Diagram 1 kind of thing, and I'll leave the HTML, and I'll do Create. This is going to launch a little drawing program that runs in my browser, which is kind of nice, and it's going to save my results for me in my Google Drive, which is also nice. So I don't have to install any kind of special programs to do this. As I see, it's actually changing this over here. It's changing my auto-saving for me. Alrighty, I now need to open up make sure some icons are available to me. So I'm going to go on the left over here under More Shapes and make sure a couple things are available. Over here on the left, I have some shapes. I'm going to come down here under More Shapes, and I'm going to make sure that Cisco is checked. I'm going to make sure that Network is checked, and I'm going to make sure Rack is checked. I want to make sure those are checked. These will give me some icons that I want, and I'll do an Apply. And it's going to add all of those little shapes for me for making my diagram. Excellent. Now that I have that, I can start drawing my first network diagram, and it's actually going to save my autosave for me into my Google Drive as I go. If need be, make sure this autosave button is checked. Okay? I'm going to create this network diagram in my Draw.io. So I'm going to get it started for you so you see how to use it, and then you can finish it on your own. I need to plug in. I'll start up here at the top and do my cloud and work my way down. The nice part about this program is up here in the search area, there's a search option. I can do something like Cisco Cloud. I want the Cisco icon, and I want it to be a cloud. It'll load that for me, and I can highlight or pick one of these. I can even do more results, and I can pick one of these cloud options and just drag it on my screen, and now I have a cloud to use to represent my internet connection. If I double click in there, I can actually start typing in it and say internet connection. Okay, so there's my first element. Okay, I can also in some of these even type on the inside too. I will then pick out my Cisco router, so I'll come up here and I'll do Cisco router, and I'm looking for these type of icons. I'm looking for those. Those are pretty universal icons, and I'm looking for just the plain old basic router icon. These are all specialty ones, so I'm going to keep going more until I get a basic Cisco router icon. There he is right there. And I'll put this up here. Now I want to connect these two. Actually, I'll double click on my router icon, and I will type the word router underneath too. In real life, that would probably be a model number or something like that, but I'm just going to get in the habit of putting labels there, because I can always come back at another time and highlight that and do Cisco 2911 router or something of that nature. That way I have more specifics there. Okay, but for today, we'll keep it simple, and we'll just put in that it's a router for now. I then want to connect these two elements. As you see, I want to connect them with a line. So all I need to do is over this first one, as I kind of put my cursor over, little arrows appear. I'm just going to click that arrow, drag it. I'm going to hold it down and drag it to this one until it lights up and let it go. So now I have a line connecting the two. Well, some of you might notice that this line is zigzaggy or something like that I don't like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that line, and my line options appear over here. So I'm going to make two changes to it. One is I will get rid of the zigzaggy and go with this diagonal line. The second thing is I'll get rid of the arrow and come up here under none. That way I don't have any arrows on this thing. So I'll pick up my line here and move it and then put it back, and you can see it connects and I don't have any arrows or anything. So there's my first element. I'm going to then put a switch in here, so I will do Cisco switch. And again, I'm going to do a kind of a more here until I start getting those blue boxes that I'm used to seeing. And I'm looking for a plain old ordinary workgroup switch. Now I need two of these, so I can do a highlight and do Control-C, Control-V to paste. Most are used to that shortcut. And then again, I'm going to click and drag. I'm going to click and drag. And you see this is starting to come together pretty quick. I'll do Cisco. Actually, I'll just type in workgroup switch. I'll keep it simple. I'll do the same thing over here. Workgroup switch. Coming together nicely. Coming together nicely. Okay. I will continue with this with my other elements. I'll pause a minute. Well, actually, I'll put a couple more elements on. That way you get the idea how this is going. Let's put some PCs and IP phones and things here. So I will do Cisco PC. I'll grab a PC off of here. There's a terminal. Here we go. There's a PC. And again, I can do Control-C, Control-V. Paste a couple of these guys here. So there's just a couple of PCs. I will connect this guy up to the switch. I will connect this guy to the switch and so forth. Over on the right side, you'll notice that I change it up a little bit. Over on the right side, I actually add another element in there. I add another piece of equipment. So I'm going to, I'll come up here and do Cisco IP Phone. And I'm going to look for this little guy right here. I'll put this in, and I'm going to put a couple of these in. At least put two now to start. I'm going to need some PCs, so I'm going to copy paste those guys. Oops. There we go. And again, I'll do the connect the lines here. There we go. And now this diagram is starting to take shape. Okay. I will continue until I have all the elements that are on here. I'll continue with my labels and all. And when I'm done, it's saving as I go. You notice it's saving onto my Google Drive as I go. I'll come up here on my Google Drive. Here is my Chapter 2 Diagram 1. There he is. Once I'm done, I need to export this in a manner that I can submit it to D2L for my lab. So what I will do is I'll come over here and I'll go File, Export As, and I'll keep it simple. I'll do PNG, 100% yay, okay. I will do Export, and I'm just going to download it to my, once it's done, I will download it to my machine. I'll do Save File, and this is going to come to my Downloads folder on my machine here. Here is my Diagram 1. I'll open him up. There he is. That will be the diagram I submit to D2L for this lab. So once this is done, once I have all the pieces there, I will export that as a PNG so I can submit it to D2L for the lab. And there's my first diagram. The second one, and actually I show you the directions here on how to do that. The second diagram I'm going to do is a rack drawing. So let me come up here. I'm going to close that tab out. Under my Google Drive, I'll do New, More, Draw.io. I will come up here and I will give this a new name. I will call this Chapter 2 Lab Diagram 2, something nice and simple like that. And this time I'm going to build a rack drawing with all my switches and things in. So I will come over here and I'm going to look for, and I tried to give you names so you understood what you're looking for, numbered rack cabinet. So under here, under rack, I can do that. I can look generally. Here is the numbered rack cabinet, drag it out there, and I can resize this guy. Okay, and I'm going to start working my way down through. I'll put some switches in, I'll put some horizontal cable ducts and so forth. So right here I actually have, I think there's some real generic ones in here for now. We'll use those, that's fine. Here's switches 1, I'll put him in. Here's switches 2, I will put him in. Okay, now these guys work on, I can make him size 1U or I can make him size 2U. And this will auto adjust everything so it all fits. So there's my switches. Again, I'll double click on it and I can put over here switches 1. Next to this guy I can double click and do switches 2. Alright, I need some horizontal cable ducts. So I think that's actually listed here. There's server, there's your horizontal cable duct. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put that right in between the two. There's one. I'm going to do Control C, Control V, and I'm going to start pasting a couple of these in here. Double click on it, do my horizontal cable duct. Right here, horizontal cable duct, and so forth. Horizontal cable duct. Okay. So now we're starting to get some of our pieces in here. And I'm going to continue just like I did before with the other map by grabbing these pieces and putting them in. And if you actually search for these items, if you come up here to the top search bar and do a search for server 2, and maybe even do rack server 2 kind of thing, you'll come right up with it, or you should come up with it pretty well. Let me do it this way again. Let's try server 2. Okay, it should have. It should have come up for you. Alright, I'll come back down here. I'll come down here to our rack. And here is our server 1. Here's our server 2. I was going to try to make it easy for you, but there you go. There's my server 2. Under UPS, I can do rack APC. Here's where my UPS is. Okay, I'll put a big one in there. Alright, and I'll just continue till I get those pieces in there. And these things are all going to be under the rack area. So you only have a few that you really do need to open to find them. Again, when I'm done, once I have my rack diagram done, make sure you have all those pieces in there. I will come up here and I will do a file, export again, export as PNG, export this. I'll just download it to my machine. Again, once it's done, here's my downloads folder. Here is my diagram number 2. There is my rack drawing. And I will submit that to D2L as well for this lab. So there, it's kind of a real quick crash course on using a diagramming program like Draw.io, connected to our Google Drive, and using it to create some network diagrams that we need. We made a real quick map, and we made a real quick rack drawing. These are all things that you need all the time when you're dealing with networking and networking equipment. So there's the second part of our lab. Again, make sure you get all the pieces in there and all the labels in there. When you're done, export it, and then you'll submit these to D2L. So there's the second part of our Chapter 2 lab.